The Atlanta Falcons have made some big moves that could totally change their future, both financially and on the field. After dealing with salary cap issues throughout 2024, the Falcons now have over $12 million in cap space, something they desperately needed as they look ahead to the 2025 season. General Manager Terry Fontenot has been busy behind the scenes, working on restructures and contract extensions that have freed up space. This gives the team the flexibility to add some much-needed talent and depth. But before we dive deeper, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for daily updates. One of the biggest moves? The Falcons signed left tackle Jake Matthews to a 2-year, $45 million extension. Matthews is a cornerstone of the franchise and one of the team's most reliable players. This extension freed up $8.5 million in cap space right away. But they didn't stop there. The Falcons also restructured the deals for right guard Chris Lindstrom and star cornerback A.J. Terrell, converting part of their salaries into bonuses. This gave the team an extra $20 million in cap space, $10 million from each player. Raheem Morris and offensive coordinator Zach Robinson have been all praises for Lindstrom, especially for his leadership and work ethic. It's clear that keeping him in Atlanta was a priority. As for Terrell, Morris, who was the defensive coordinator when the Falcons drafted him, has been a huge supporter. He's always highlighted Terrell's ability to shut down opposing receivers, making it clear why Terrell is an essential part of the team's defense. While these moves give the Falcons some immediate financial flexibility, the real buzz is around quarterback Kirk Cousins. As we wrapped up our live show, word spread that Cousins was spotted in Westlake, Ohio, a suburb of Cleveland. Now, before you start jumping to conclusions, let's take a minute to break this down. Is he just vacationing in Cleveland in late March, or is something bigger brewing here? My gut feeling? This isn't just a casual visit. Kirk Cousins and the Cleveland Browns could be talking business. The Browns are likely re-evaluating their quarterback situation, and Cousins is probably in town to have some serious talks. This is a tricky situation, though, because Cousins has a no-trade clause in his contract. That means any trade needs his approval. So if he's meeting with the Browns, it's likely because he wants answers to two big questions. First, what's Cleveland's plan at quarterback? Cousins isn't going to move to a team where a rookie quarterback might take his spot, if the Browns are planning to draft someone like Shedeur Sanders with the number. Second overall pick, Cousins may not be so eager to waive his no-trade clause. Second, what about the money? The Browns aren't going to take on all of Cousins' contract. Both sides will need to figure out a deal. Could Cousins restructure his contract? Would Cleveland offer him an incentive-laden deal? These are the big questions that need to be sorted out. If those discussions go well, Cleveland could approach Atlanta with a potential trade offer. Big moves ahead? Stay tuned. Here's my best guess. The compensation for Kirk Cousins could be a conditional 5th-round pick that could rise to a 4th or even a 3rd-rounder, depending on how well he plays and the team's success. At first, this might not seem like a huge return for the Falcons, especially after Cousins struggled in his final 5 starts last season and still has $37.5 million left on his contract. But honestly, getting anything back at this point would be a win for the Falcons. But here's where things get really interesting, the wild card in all of this, Aaron Rodgers. There are rumors flying around that Rodgers might retire, and if he does, it would completely shake up the quarterback market. Suddenly, teams like Pittsburgh and Cleveland could be fighting each other to trade for Cousins, which would raise his trade value. Imagine Cousins' value jumping from a conditional 5th-round pick to a solid 3rd-rounder, all because Rodgers decides to call it quits. That would be a dream scenario for Terry Fontenot and the Falcons front office. The logic behind this is simple. Right now, there are 3 teams, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and Tennessee, that could be looking for a quarterback. If Rodgers retires, Pittsburgh and Cleveland become desperate for a quarterback, putting Atlanta in a prime position to get the best offer possible. The Falcons have been patient, not releasing Cousins outright, and if a bidding war kicks off, that patience could really pay off. Now let's switch things up a bit. The Falcons have also made an interesting move at the kicker position. Signing Lenny Kig, a German kicker from the NFL's International Player Pathway program. Kig, who taught himself how to kick by watching YouTube videos and Instagram reels, was a standout at the International Combine, going a perfect 14 for 14 on his attempts. What makes this move even more intriguing is the fact that Kig only met with Atlanta before deciding to stop all other visits. Could it be that he fell in love with the city, maybe after trying some of those famous lemon pepper wings? Maybe Lenny Kig is afraid of flying and didn't want to visit more teams, or more likely, did the Falcons tell him straight up that he has a real shot at winning the starting job? Given Younghoe Koo's struggles in 2024, it's easy to believe that Atlanta is looking to add competition at the kicker position. So, Falcons fans, there's a lot to think about here. What do you make of the team's cap moves? Do you think the Falcons are making the right call with Kirk Cousins? And how do you feel about the new kicker? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If the Kirk Cousins trade wasn't intriguing enough, let's talk about what this move could mean for the Falcons' quarterback room. If Cousins is indeed on his way out, it means Michael Penix Jr. officially becomes the guy in Atlanta. The team has carefully danced around the question of who will start in 2025, but if Cousins gets traded, there's no more debate. Penix takes over. And honestly, this might be exactly what the Falcons need. While Cousins brings veteran experience, the reality is he struggled down the stretch last season. His issues with mobility and deep ball accuracy became more obvious as the year went on, and in an offense designed by Zach Robinson, one that thrives on play action and rollouts, Penix is simply a better fit. That being said, handing over the keys to a young quarterback always comes with risks. The Falcons' offensive line has had its ups and downs, and while the team has made moves to solidify the protection, it's still a question mark. Matthews' contract extension locks down the left tackle spot, but what about the right side? The team has tried different options at right tackle, but nothing is set in stone. If Penix is the guy, they need to make sure he's protected. And don't forget about the weapons. Drake London is on track to be a star, but he can't do it alone. The Falcons need another reliable wide receiver to line up opposite him, especially if they want to make things easier for their young quarterback. Kyle Pitts has shown flashes of brilliance, but consistency has been a bit of an issue. Could Atlanta still look to bring in another veteran pass catcher? One name that keeps coming up is Hunter Renfrow. The former Raiders wide receiver is still unsigned, and his ability to work the slot could be a great complement to London's size and Pitt's athleticism. With the extra cap space the Falcons have created, adding a reliable short yardage target for Penix could be a smart move. So, as we wrap things up, I want to hear from you. If Cousins is traded, do you trust Penix to take the lead? Should the Falcons bring in another veteran wide receiver? And what do you think of the team's overall approach this offseason? Drop a comment below, hit that like button if you enjoyed this breakdown, and make sure to subscribe for more Falcons coverage. The offseason is far from over, and we'll be here to break down every move along the way. Go Falcons!